Hey everyone, and welcome to the Deep Dive. We're going deep today into the world of modern dating and relationships.
Okay.
Specifically for women.
Sounds good.
Now we're basing this deep dive on some research that really got us thinking.
Interesting.
And we're going to try to break down these 5 endgames that the research outlines.
Okay.
Almost like different relationship paths, you could end up on.
Okay.
And here's a crazy stat.
Okay.
1 in 4 women today are ending up unpartnered and childless.
Ah.
And that number is only going up. They say it's going to be 1 in 3 soon.
Really?
So yeah, we're diving into some pretty serious stuff today.
The research frames these endgames in the context of a marketplace, which I find really interesting.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like there's this whole system in place with its own rules, and it's not about judging anyone's choices, but just understanding how things actually play out in the real world.
That makes sense. Okay, so let's start with what many people might consider like the dream scenario, right?
Yeah.
You find that partner who seems to have it all, the success, the looks, the ambition, the whole package.
I see.
This is what the research calls endgame 1, winning the jackpot.
Catchy title.
All right, sounds amazing, but there's a catch. Only 1% of women actually achieve this.
Right.
So why do you think that is?
Well, I think it really comes down to the realities of the dating world.
Okay.
These guys, the ones who fit this description, they often have so many options.
Yeah.
They're not in any rush to commit when they feel like there are endless possibilities out there.
It's like they're at this giant buffet.
Yeah.
Taking their sweet time to sample everything.
That's a good way to put it.
So how does a woman even stand out in that kind of environment?
It's not just about standing out,
Okay.
It's about offering something truly unique and valuable.
Okay.
It goes deeper than just ticking off boxes on a checklist,
I see.
It's got to be a deeper level of compatibility.
That makes sense. So it sounds like winning the jackpot, it's a pretty tough game to win.
It is.
Let's move on to endgame 2, adjusting your price.
Okay.
Now, what does that even mean? Does that mean lowering your standards?
I don't think it necessarily means lowering them, but maybe being more realistic and expanding what you consider attractive or valuable in a partner.
Okay.
Think of it like a luxury brand having a sale to attract a broader range of customers.
I get it. So it's about being strategic
Exactly.
and maybe opening yourself up to possibilities you hadn't considered before.
Exactly. You got to recognize that the dating scene is competitive.
Yeah.
Be proactive.
So even with some flexibility, it's still not a guarantee.
That's right.
All right. Endgame 3 is something we hear about all the time. Settling.
Yeah.
Settling for someone who doesn't quite meet those initial expectations.
Right.
Is it really as bad as it sounds?
The research actually pushes back on that negativity.
Interesting.
It says this is the reality for about half of women. And it's not always a bad thing.
Really?
Sometimes those partners who don't fit the ideal, they bring other strengths.
Like what?
Strong commitment, maybe a willingness to really nurture the relationship.
So it's not settling for less.
No.
But recognizing different qualities can be just as valuable.
Exactly.
What do you think about that?
Someone who might not have that flashy career
Right.
or perfect looks could be incredibly supportive,
Yeah.
attentive, genuinely invested in building a life together.
Yeah, man.
That can be the foundation
Yeah.
for a really strong bond.
It's like shifting the focus from those superficial checklist things
Yes.
to the things that truly matter.
Absolutely. Shared values, mutual respect.
Those are the ingredients for a fulfilling relationship.
Even if it doesn't look like that picture-perfect image we might have in our heads.
Right. Okay, now, endgame 4. This one's a bit more disheartening.
Yeah.
This is where you adjust your expectations, but you still end up feeling unfulfilled.
Right.
It's like you're stuck at a deserted airport
Oh, yeah.
with that one mediocre overpriced sandwich.
I've been there.
Right. It's not great, but you're kind of stuck with it.
You gotta eat.
Why do you think people stay in these situations?
Fear, I think.
Fear of
Being alone, the pressure of that biological clock maybe, or feeling like you've already invested so much time.
you don't want to start over.
Exactly.
So it's driven by pressure
Yes.
rather than genuine desire.
Sadly, those relationships,
Yeah.
they rarely lead to genuine happiness in the long run.
They might provide some security,
Yeah, temporary security.
but ultimately leaving you feeling empty.
That's right.
Now, for endgame 5, flying solo.
Okay,
This is remaining unpartnered and childless.
got it.
And it's becoming more common.
Is it?
Yeah, they're saying a third of all women might end up this way.
Wow, that's a big shift.
And what's interesting is that for many women, especially in their 20s, this lifestyle can be incredibly liberating.
Oh, yeah.
They value their independence, focus on their careers, travel the world.
I see.
There's a sense of freedom that can be really appealing.
I can see that.
But the research points out
What's that?
that perspective can shift as women get older.
Makes sense.
Those biological realities, those societal pressures,
Yeah.
even just our desires naturally evolve.
You start to question
Yeah.
if you want to navigate certain life stages alone.
And here's the part that really surprised me.
Okay.
The research says only a small percentage of childless women actually chose that path intentionally.
Oh, wow.
The vast majority end up there because of circumstances and timing.
So it's not a conscious rejection of motherhood,
Right.
but a combination of factors.
Yeah, maybe they focused on their careers, haven't found the right partner, or faced unexpected challenges.
It challenges the narrative that women are opting out by choice.
Completely. And here's another interesting point. The research highlights that high-achieving women are more likely to end up in this scenario.
Why do you think that is?
Well, think about it. They often dedicate their 20s and 30s to building their careers, getting those advanced degrees,
Right.
achieving their professional goals, which often means delaying relationships and family.
Well, then.
Then as they get older,
Yeah.
they find themselves in a different position in the dating world.
So it's not that they're too intimidating or anything.
No, it's more nuanced than that.
How so?
It's about how societal expectations and biological realities intersect with the dating dynamics.
I see.
As we age, those expectations and the perceived value we bring can shift.
It can be harder to find a partner.
Yes, who aligns with your goals and aspirations.
Wow, that's a lot to think about.
It is. We've covered these 5 potential endgames.
Yeah.
And it seems like each path has its own challenges and opportunities.
It does.
So what does this all mean for women navigating the modern dating world?
It's not about saying one path is right or wrong, but understanding how these scenarios play out and making choices that align with your values.
So it's about taking control of your own narrative,
Yes.
creating a love life that feels authentic to you.
Exactly. Whether that's pursuing a partner, adjusting your expectations, or embracing singlehood.
It's about recognizing you have agency.
You have the power to choose your own adventure.
This has been really eye-opening. What stood out to you the most?
The misconception around childless women,
Yeah.
the idea that most of them don't intentionally choose that path,
Right.
really challenges those societal narratives.
It does. We need more honest conversations about this.
We do, without those judgmental stereotypes.
Every woman's journey is unique.
There's no one-size-fits-all approach to happiness.
Before we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Yeah.
does any of this resonate with you personally?
You know what strikes me is that these endgames,
Yeah.
they're presented as fixed destinations,
Mm-hmm.
but life is much more fluid than that. We're always evolving, our priorities shift, and what might have seemed ideal at one point
Yeah.
might not feel that way later on.
It's like those choose your own adventure books.
I love those.
You think you're going down one path,
Yeah.
and then boom, a choice takes you in a completely different direction.
Exactly, and that's okay.
It is.
It's about embracing the journey and recognizing there's no one right way to navigate life or love.
That's a great point.
Thank you.
That's a great place to pause. Now join us for part 2 of this deep dive,
Sounds good.
where we'll explore these ideas even further and talk about how you can apply these insights to your own life.
Looking forward to it. You know, it's funny how those endgame labels, while helpful for categorizing,
Yeah,
can make us feel boxed in.
I know what you mean.
Like life is just this linear path
Yeah.
with a predetermined destination.
Right.
But the reality is
Yeah.
we're all constantly growing,
Right.
evolving, and
Yeah.
our desires and priorities change over time.
It's so true. It's like we're expected to have it all figured out
Yeah,
by a certain age.
right.
But life is full of surprises.
Absolutely.
Our definition of success can change so much over the years.
Yeah. And it's important to recognize that there's no one right way to live.
Right.
And embrace the fact that our
Yeah.
paths might take unexpected turns.
Sometimes those unplanned journeys
Yeah.
are the most fulfilling ones.
Absolutely. This whole conversation makes
Yeah.
me think about all the societal expectations
I know, right?
placed on women.
Especially when it comes to relationships and children.
It's like there's this invisible script
Yeah.
we're supposed to follow.
And if we deviate, we're somehow seen as failing.
You've hit on a crucial point, those societal expectations. They're so powerful.
They really are.
Like an undercurrent pulling us,
Ah.
whether we realize it or not.
Right. And if we don't consciously examine them
Yeah.
and question if they align with our desires,
We might end up on a path that doesn't feel authentic.
it's like trying to fit into a mold
Yes.
made by someone else,
Instead of designing our own lives.
based on what matters to us.
That's a great way to put it. You have the power
Yeah,
to rewrite that script,
we do.
define your own values, and create a life that's truly meaningful.
This is so empowering.
It is.
It's like permission to break free
Yes, break free
from those limiting beliefs and pressures
and create a life that reflects who you are.
and what you want.
Exactly. You are the author of your own story.
Love that.
You decide what chapters you write
What characters we invite in,
and what direction you want your narrative to take.
and we celebrate those choices,
Absolutely.
regardless of whether they fit into those conventional boxes.
Embrace the diversity of women's experiences.
Yeah.
There's no one-size-fits-all approach.
To happiness and fulfillment.
That's right.
You know, this research focuses on heterosexual relationships,
It does.
but I feel like so many of these concepts apply to any relationship model or sexual orientation.
Absolutely. Whether it's romantic partnerships,
Yeah.
friendships,
Yeah.
family dynamics.
Understanding your own value,
Yes.
recognizing patterns,
Mm.
making conscious choices.
Those apply across the board.
It's like a toolkit for building healthier relationships.
Exactly. In all areas of life.
It's about recognizing the dynamics at play.
The balance of power, how we communicate our needs,
Yeah.
and the choices we make to create connections that feel good for everyone involved.
Okay, so we've explored these endgames,
Yes.
talked about the societal pressures.
Uh-huh.
What are some practical steps
Good question.
that listeners can take?
Well, the first step is to get clear on your values
Okay.
and desires when it comes to relationship.
When it comes to relationships,
What are your non-negotiables?
what are you willing to compromise on?
Yeah. What kind of connection?
Would truly make you happy
Take time to reflect.
on what you want,
Not what you think you should want.
not based on expectations.
Exactly. Once you have that clarity,
Then what?
then you can start making choices aligned with those values.
Which could look like.
Adjusting your approach to dating.
Okay.
Being more proactive, seeking out connections.
Even embracing the single life.
If that feels authentic.
It's about taking control.
And creating the love life you truly desire.
And remember,
Yes.
there's no right or wrong answer.
It's about finding what works for you.
And embracing your journey.
It's confidence and self-awareness.
I love that creating a love life that feels good on your own terms,
Exactly.
not based on external rules or expectations.
Your happiness is the ultimate goal.
What about those feeling discouraged
Oh,
or
yeah.
disillusioned with dating?
What message of hope can we offer them?
Yeah,
The most important message is this. You have agency.
you do.
You have the power to choose a different path
To redefine what success means,
and create a love life.
that aligns with your desires and values.
It's about shifting from feeling like a victim to recognizing that you have power to shape your own romantic future.
It's never too late
It's never too late.
to rewrite your story.
I love that.
This has been an incredible deep dive.
Me too.
I'm seeing the dating landscape in a new light
It's been fascinating to explore these dynamics.
and the choices we have within those systems.
Yes.
Any final thoughts before we wrap up this part of our conversation?
Relationships in all forms are a journey,
Oh,
not a destination.
your journey.
Embrace the ups and downs.
It's twists and turns.
Yeah, and see those as opportunities for growth.
It's like we're all on this incredible adventure.
I love that analogy.
And sometimes the most beautiful destinations
Yeah,
are the ones we discover along the way,
beautifully said.
not the ones we initially set out for.
It's about savoring those moments of connection
Embracing the lessons we learn.
and allowing ourselves to evolve as individuals and partners.
I'm so glad we're having this conversation.
Me too.
This deep dive has been so eye-opening and empowering.
It has.
But before we wrap up completely, there's one more crucial aspect to explore. We were talking about the rising number of women ending up unpartnered and childless.
Right.
There's another layer to this
Uh-huh.
that we should unpack.
Yeah, what's that?
The research points out that many of these women
Yeah.
didn't actually plan to be single and childless.
It wasn't a deliberate choice for many.
It's like we talked about earlier, those societal pressures and expectations
Yeah.
can kind of push us down these paths.
Right, even if they don't match your true desires.
Exactly, and the research really highlights this distinction.
Oh, how so?
It's not about women rejecting motherhood or partnership,
Okay.
but about understanding the complex factors
Yeah.
that lead to this outcome.
Right, it's much more nuanced.
And the research specifically mentions high-achieving women.
Uh-huh.
they often find themselves in this situation.
More than others.
Why do you think that is?
Well, imagine a woman driven to succeed in her career.
Okay.
She might spend her 20s and 30s focused on education.
Building her career.
Exactly, or building her own business.
Laying the groundwork.
Yes, crucial years for that.
But that often means delaying relationships and family.
It does.
So it's not that they're intentionally putting those things off.
Right.
It's more about timing and how those choices impact their options later.
Right, because then as they get older,
Let's say 40s and 50s.
yeah, the dating landscape might look totally different.
It's like the rules of the game have changed.
And nobody gave them the new rule book.
Exactly. And it's not about blaming anyone.
No, of course not.
For saying they made the wrong choices.
It's just about acknowledging those systemic factors.
The timing of decisions.
Sometimes life just doesn't go as planned.
It really makes you think about how we define success for women.
Uh-huh. How so?
It's like we expect them to check these boxes.
Marriage, motherhood, the traditional family.
And if you choose a different path,
Like prioritizing your career, staying single, or not having kids,
you might face judgment.
people might think you're not successful.
Like there's only one way to be a woman.
And any other way is seen as failing.
Exactly. But that's just not true.
Not at all. Every woman's journey is unique.
So many ways to live a meaningful life.
Absolutely.
How do we challenge those narrow definitions of success then?
How do we create a more supportive environment?
For women, regardless of their choices,
It starts with recognizing and celebrating the diversity of their experiences.
honoring those choices.
Whether it's a demanding career, creative pursuits, travel, or family,
So many ways to contribute.
and to live a life that feels authentic.
Create spaces where they feel supported.
Empowered to define success on their own terms.
I love the breaking free from those narratives.
Creating a world where women are valued for who they are.
Not for what society tells them to be.
Exactly, empowering them to live their most authentic lives.
This deep dive has been quite a journey.
We've explored so much.
The complexities of dating those different paths.
And the pressures that can influence us.
We talked about understanding our values.
Making conscious decisions.
Challenging those limiting beliefs.
That can hold us back.
I've gained so much insight from this conversation.
Me too. It's been fascinating to explore the power we have.
To shape our own lives.
Despite the challenges.
As we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
what's one key takeaway you hope listeners will remember?
Remember, you are the architect of your own life.
You have the power.
To choose your path, define your values, create a fulfilling future.
Don't let those pressures dictate your choices.
Embrace your agency, trust your intuition, and create a love story that celebrates you.
That's such a powerful message. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure exploring these ideas with you.
To our listeners, thank you for diving in with us
We hope this episode has sparked some new insights.
and inspired you to embrace your journey.
With confidence and clarity,
Remember, whether you're seeking partnership or embracing the single life,
the most important relationship is with yourself.
nurture that relationship, honor your values.
Create a life that truly lights you up.
If this episode got you thinking, head over to our social media.
Share your thoughts, your questions, your experiences.
Let's keep this conversation going.
We love connecting with our listeners.
Until next time, keep diving deep.
And keep exploring